Okay, we're continuing our football club history series. We've gone to Dorset for this one. We're looking at A.F.C. Bournemouth. Now, A.F.C. Bournemouth weren't always called A.F.C. Bournemouth. They were formed in 1899 as Boscombe Football Club, which is the suburb of Bournemouth that the club play in. And by 1923, when they enter the Football League, they're known as Bournemouth and Boscombe Athletic. Now, they take their current name in 1971. Their nickname is the Cherries. Their home stadium is Dean Court, which is known for sponsorship reasons for most fans as the Vitality. Now, Dean Court is one of the smallest stadiums I have come across in this football club history series that we've been doing, seating 11,364. It is also the smallest stadium in the Premier League. Now, for most of their Football League existence, humdrum. Lower divisions, not outstanding, not terrible, run-of-the-mill club. Doesn't really reach the national consciousness because they're not in the high levels until they beat Manchester United in the FA Cup in 1984 when Harry Redknapp is manager, and that's when people realise Bournemouth exists as a football club and take more notice. But apart from that, not an overly crazy existence until 1997. Now, in the space of 11 years, they had two administrations. The second administration leads to a very important moment in the managerial side of the club and ownership, which then leads to Premier League status. So in 97, they enter their first administration. 2008 is a more serious administration. It ultimately leads to the current ownership and Eddie Howe coming in as manager. Now, Eddie Howe does some fantastic things with this football club, hence why he's now the Newcastle United manager and has unlimited wealth to spend in every transfer window. And I think Eddie Howe is a very underrated manager, personally. But in between 2009 and 2015, so in the space of 6 seasons, they get 3 promotions. That's one every 2 years under Eddie Howe. They end up a Premier League club. Under Eddie Howe in the Premier League, he's their manager between 2015 and 2020 in the Premier League, between 2009 and 2020. So he was one of the longest serving managers in the game at the time he parts company with Bournemouth at the end of the disrupted 2019-2020 season. It's in this period, however, that I discovered doing the research. Now, I think fans will probably know this, that the club were fined for financial fair play breaches. They were fined £4.75 million by the footballing authorities for breaching financial fair play after their 2008 administration. It's actually in the seasons just before they get promoted to the Premier League. Now, financial fair play, as we know, is a very divisive topic, and we know is weakly enforced. If the footballing authorities were properly to enforce financial fair play and the profit over loss rule, which they did here with Bournemouth, they would be fining clubs and docking points left, right and centre. About 70% of English clubs would be in breach of it, and I think that's probably manifested over on the continent as well. More than half of the clubs that play professional football would be fined and or docked points. Ultimately, they run out of steam in the Premier League under Eddie Howe. They're back in the Championship for 2 seasons between 2020 and 2022, and they gain promotion by finishing second to last season in the Championship back to the Premier League. So they're currently a Premier League club. Their records are really interesting. I've got an appearance record, a goals record, and the 2 transfer records of a transfer fee paid and a transfer fee received, and then we'll look at their rivals. So their records. The appearance record, now this is, I don't think, ever going to get broken at this football club, is held by Steve Fletcher, 726 games in 2 spells at the club. He first makes his debut for the club in 1992 until 2007, that's his first spell. He returns between 2009 and 2013 to help them on their way with the promotions under Eddie Howe. So he's brought back to the club by Eddie Howe. 726 games played. That record doesn't get broken. I'm just going to call that now. That record doesn't get broken. The goals record, again, I'm not sure it gets broken. Ron Eyre scored 229 goals in 378 games between 1924 and 1933. I don't think that record gets broken ever. I think those 2 records with the club stay. The transfer side of things, we can debate whether these records will get broken or not. I believe they will. The biggest transfer paid was $25 million to Levante for Jefferson Lerma in August 2018. And the biggest transfer fee received was for Nathan Ake from Man City at $41 million in August 2020. I think those records do get broken at some point, most likely on the transfer fee paid rather than the transfer fee received. However, anything's possible when you've got multi-millionaire and billionaire owners in football these days. The goals and appearance record, I don't think gets broken. The rivalries are very, very interesting. Southampton and Portsmouth, that's kind of logical geographically. It's a no-brainer. Brighton and Hove Albion is an interesting one. And Reading. They're interesting ones to me, but they are their rivals historically, and those matches tend to produce a lot of goals, a lot of bookings, and intense atmospheres. So there we go. There's a brief history of AFC Bournemouth, the Cherries. The only one of the things I wasn't aware of was that financial fair play breach, of which they got fined. I think there's a lot of these breaches that we don't really hear a lot about, where fines are paid out, and it doesn't make a lot of news in the media. But hey, there you go. They were caught out. They were fined. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Please place your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.